that information should be outed and communicated to the people of India. And I think this would go a long way in terms of communicating how foreign hands perhaps are influencing India's election process. So first of all, you understand what this means. I believe after that, President Trump also commented that he understands that maybe India wanted to elect somebody else. So who better than him can understand what election interference is? We actually, unfortunately, so although it's the oldest democracy, we have actually seen a massive amount of irregularities in United States in 2020. As you know, there's a lot of confusions around whether the 2020 election results were declared correctly, whether Trump actually won or not.
This is a very big moment. This is a major fraud in our nation. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election. We did win this election.
There's so many confusions, so many narratives that were propagated overall. So, who better than President Trump actually knows the wrath of election interference? When we know in the cycle, in 2016 cycle, we have heard massively about uh, Russian collusion and Russian election interference in United States, which basically, obviously, the Democrats were communicating to the rest of the country, and most of the media actually joined their hands in communicating. And later on, it was found that Hillary Clinton was the one who was colluding, and there was no Russian interference in the election in 2016. So the question primarily is whether how it's going to impact India. I suppose if this was given for the fact that they wanted to execute a coup in order to actually elect somebody else rather than PM Narendra Modi, it certainly would have been a wrong thing to do, obviously. So I hope, for US AIDS, $21 million dollar, who it was going to go to, or which institution it was going to go to, that information should come out. People, I think people of India should know about it as well. Absolutely. I think from a perspective of India, for sovereignty of India, you should be pressuring to get the name of the institutions, name of the individuals at all involved directly or indirectly. That information should be outed and communicated to the people of India. And I think this would go a long way in terms of communicating how foreign hands perhaps are influencing India's election process, which is antithetical to the democratic values of Indian sovereignty of India. Well, I think from India's perspective, as I hinted out before, I think your leaders, while opposing the leader of the country, which is Narendra Modi, or the becoming the opposition party of the country, perhaps they somehow became the enemies of the state itself. So it's no longer a competition between two parties or the policies which are going to bring betterment of the country and people of the country. It is basically a fight between the opposition party versus Narendra Modi and opposition party versus BJP. So it is not just the conspiracy, foreign conspiracy, but what I have seen is that if a malicious attempt using the Indian people, the Indian brown people to carry out a foreign agenda. For instance, the conversion agenda, for instance, demolishing Indian Hindu temples, and also different acts that you have passed, part of Indian constitution, in terms of place of worship act or the Waqf act and etc., which is not just impacting the country's civilizational values as well as the heritage connection, but also making the opposition parties go against the state itself. For instance, I have heard one of the states deputy CM calling for eradication of Sanatan Dharma. I have seen one of the states CM coming to America and also declaring that they don't actually respect or the sovereignty of Indian state at all. So these are something that I think you as a country should value and also investigate and also stop this kind of break India agenda and the bad actors who are actually working against the state, against the country. So I think there's a long term impact that is going to come out of it if this is not solved or addressed immediately, because I have not seen the deputy CM of Tamil Nadu being arrested for for the statement that he has made in terms of making Sanatan Dharma is equated to malaria, dengue, and etc., which basically they want to eradicate the foundation of the country itself, which I think obviously influence of foreign countries are quite evident, and you have to address those. Otherwise, you don't expect India to stay or carry the heritage, the values of ancient values that we have had. It doesn't mean that ancient values are obsolete today. The values of Vedic Sanatan Dharma is actually quite contemporary, and it actually can apply to today's life as well. So I think what India has is going to be quite important for bringing peace in the world. So I think we cannot lose that at this point of time. From a global standpoint, there's no other country who can bring such a philosophical value to the rest of the world. Yeah, I think the visit. I've commented about it before as well when he was visiting. I think his visit. Obviously, there was a lot of tension going on at that time when they were sending, illegal Indian immigrants from here to India, and obviously the opposition party of India made a massive fuss around how they were sent back in terms of handcuffs and shackles around the legs and etc. But there's so much of tension. But there was also argument from the foreign minister Jaishankar ji as well, because he mentioned that this is part of the standard operating procedure and there was nothing out of the norm, and obviously it was a military flight, and this is something that they have always done in the past. And one key issues that we have to understand at this point of time, the budgetary issues, which is why Trump is actually sending illegal immigrants to different countries through military flights. So if there's another opportunity that comes from a commercial perspective and all, so I don't think the illegal aliens are going to be shackled in that way. But there's a safety issue that I don't know whether it was discussed in at that time at all, because if you see the pictures at that time, you will see there was security people were holding machine guns and etc. If any of those people would just pull a machine gun and create a chaos in the air, that would have been a massive disaster. So I think although the optics looked quite grim. I think there was a safety argument that we cannot just overlook. Coming to the foreign relation, I think his visit with President Trump was quite warm. You have seen the optics from President Trump as well, how he actually made sure the chair was moved, and it was President Trump who has done it. And I think he repeatedly said that he actually respects PM Narendra Modi, and he respects India as well. So I think coming from that kind of mentality, I'm quite confident that US-India relationship is going to be quite warm, just like Modi and Trump, the warmth. But at the same time, as you understand, Trump comes with Make America Great Again mentality, which is quite similar to what PM Modi brings, which is Make India Great Again. And I particularly say that at one point of time, 200 years ago, India certainly was the Sone ki Chidiya. It was the best in the world. It had the highest GDP. At that point of time, I believe it was 25%, 250 years ago. So I think of course, by the time the British went, we were left to 2%, and obviously they've stolen all the wealth from us. So the question comes back to the same kind of ideology both the leaders have. So ideologically they align. From a national security perspective, they both align. So I think from a the foreign policy perspective, they both understand where both the leaders are coming from. So it's not going to be such a tussle in terms of understanding the mentality of the leaders. So they know none of them, I hope, are here to harm different countries, either countries. So in this particular case, whether it is a tariff issue or whether it is technological issues or defense issues or the transfer of technology, I think India had made it quite clear how they want to proceed. Obviously, the relationship from a perspective of trade is going to be slightly difficult because things are changing. So I think immediately within the next few months, you are going to see some changes. But as time progresses, I think it is actually a fantastic opportunity for India to inspire Indian entrepreneurs to do well, to make in India things. I often say that you should make your roads in India, you should make your product and services in India. You make your country better. There's no reason for you to depend on another country. Obviously, during COVID, we have all seen the situation from a supply chain perspective, different countries, how we actually were harmed, but nobody expected at that point of time India to come up with a vaccine and also donate to 150 countries. And this is something that even America didn't donate to any country. So I think India certainly from a geopolitical standpoint stands today in a massively sweet spot, and I think you should be able to utilize this opportunity, even if it is little bit of more tariff that is being charged. And I think this actually is in the long run is going to be quite beneficial for Indian economy and also for the Indian enterprise.